Hey guys, Roman and Reaper here. So as you can see, it's a lovely day out. There's only one way to spend it, in the cinema. And today I'm going to infinity and beyond. Yep, I'm heading in to see Toy Story 5. I've been looking forward to this because I love Toy Story. Toy Story is great. There's not been a single bad film, and you can argue as much, this didn't need to happen. But when the hot streak's been as strong as this, it's hard to say no. But the only way to find out if they keep the streak alive is to head in, get some snacks, and get seated for Toy Story 5. Time to pick me up one of these boys. So yeah, I've got my popcorn here with the Cadbury Buttons toppers in the Toy Story Collector's tin, and a Coca-Cola in the cup with the Buzz Lightyear topper, ready for the battle between toys and tech. So, Toy Story 5. I'm back from seeing it. The film is directed by Pixar veteran Andrew Stanton, director of WALL-E and Finding Nemo. He's also had writing credits across the previous Toy Story films, but this is notably the first entry in the franchise to actually be directed by him. And look, I know exactly what all of you are thinking here, that Toy Story 3 had a perfect ending, and I agree. There is always that element of trepidation when they announce another one of these of, do we really need it? But the franchise has had a very consistent run when it comes to quality, and this one actually had a really cool hook to it, obviously with the whole toys versus tech angle, which is a really interesting approach and really sold me on it. But does the film deliver on its timely hook to keep the franchise's hot streak alive? Let's find out. So in the film, Jessie, Buzz, and the gang use their playtime to try and achieve one simple goal: to help Bonnie make friends. But Jessie soon discovers an epidemic that could bring about the end of the age of toys: technology. And when Bonnie receives a device of her own, known as LilyPad, it spells certain doom for the toys. And so, with the help of Woody, Jessie and Buzz set about trying to stop LilyPad and take back playtime once and for all by directing Bonnie's attention away from the screen and back towards the toys before her childhood years can be affected. So, as reasonable as it is to be skeptical about the prospect of another Toy Story film after the perfect ending of 3, I will happily continue to line up for them as long as the quality continues to be there, because seriously, I don't know how the franchise manages to keep doing this, but this was yet another great Toy Story film. Like, seriously, this is insane. They cannot keep getting away with this. So of course, in the tradition of the Toy Story franchise, and indeed Pixar as a whole, the animation is just absolutely stunning. Worth noting that Pixar actually developed a new version of their RenderMan rendering software known as RenderMan XPU, and this was the first film to actually make use of it. And yeah, the animation on display is just absolutely stunning. It does pivot a little bit away from the insanely realistic details and textures of the previous film, instead emphasizing more of a stylized, cartoony look and feel. But even still, the level of detail in the textures on display here is just insane. And of course, the toys themselves are once again highly expressive and fluid in their movements. Seriously, Pixar's animators are some of the best in the game. But there's also some really fun stylized visual choices as well. Perhaps most notably the use of 2D watercolor visuals to emphasize the aesthetic of playtime. Yeah, it is beautifully, beautifully done. And of course, that childlike whimsy is enhanced once again by Randy Newman's all reliable score. Now, narratively speaking, this I think is the most scattershot one of the franchise. That's not to say it is overly disjointed or unfocused. It's just that it very much takes a while for its various plot strands to converge. As entertaining as they all are, don't get me wrong, all its main plot lines are incredibly interesting and entertaining in their own ways. Obviously, we've got Jesse's mission to get back to Bonnie and stop Lilypad, while we've also got Woody and Buzz managing the situation back at home. There's also a quite entertaining subplot involving an army of Buzz Lightyear toys with new high-tech features trying to reach Star Command. And of course, there is also Bonnie's perspective as well. All of these plot lines are very entertaining in their own ways. It's just that, to get them to actually converge does take a little bit. Still, what I think really bolsters them are the really compelling ideas and themes on display here, particularly in how it explores the use of screens and technology amongst children. Very much, exploring the idea that it very much, screen time alters the developmental years by, forcing them to grow up quicker than they should, and very much emphasizing the value of human connection and interacting with physical objects such as toys to build meaningful, lifelong memories. But of course, in this is Pixar we're talking about here, this isn't just some one-sided technology bad lecture either. It approaches the topic with a lot of nuance and depth, also exploring some positive ideas around technology and how, at its best, can aid those long-term connections. And obviously it explores that this is what technology can and should do. Yeah, it's all very, very well done. And what I think really drives it are, of course, those long character dynamics that we've come to know and love. Obviously, the Woody Buzz dynamic is incredibly entertaining as ever, with some fun new layers to it, obviously with Buzz being made a deputy, and also Woody's return, to manage this situation. And of course, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen once again just slip back into that all reliable dynamic with ease. Greta Lee is also a great villain here as Lilypad. On the surface, she is like charming and inviting for a child to play with, but also, just switches like that to be more obviously threatening and antagonistic towards the toys. She does a great, great job. But the heart of the film is of course Jessie. She gets a newfound leading role this time around. She very much drives the story, and it's obviously a fresh angle that really, really works. They call back to her devastating backstory from the second film in ways that feed her arc of trying to be there for Bonnie in her developmental years. And I mean, Joan Cusack does a great job voicing Jessie once again, and this really sells this newfound leading role. She absolutely crushes it, and in general, yes, Jessie is the MVP of the film. There also, of course, gets in those moments of humour as well, as you'd expect from Toy Story. Obviously, there's some humour to be found in Woody and Buzz's bickering. There's also some funny sight gags involving Woody's bald spot. Absolutely hilarious choice, by the way. There's also some great, funny lines from the character of Smarty Pants, who's this sort of electronic toilet paper toy to help children learn toilet training. He's voiced by Conan O'Brien, and yeah, he is a hugely entertaining presence, a real standout. So yeah, as you'd expect from Toy Story, very, very funny. But also, as you'd expect from Toy Story, it is, really genuine and heartfelt, driven by that really strong emotional core. Because once all its plot lines do converge in the final act, it is incredibly satisfying stuff and delivers those exciting emotional payoffs And there's one particular reveal here that I will not spoil, but all I can say is had something in my eye during that scene. No, I'm fine. I'm not crying. Just something in my eye. I promise. Yeah, it is incredibly heartfelt and emotionally resonant in a way that only Toy Story can. And by the end of this, yeah, I just left feeling incredibly satisfied that that Toy Story defied the odds once again and pulled off another winner. Overall, Toy Story 5 is yet another winning entry in the franchise, featuring beautiful animation, timely themes around children's screen usage, and of course, the franchise's trademark big hearted emotional core. Yeah, we continue to have a friend in this franchise. Out of 10, Toy Story 5 gets a 9. So, let me know down in the comments, have you seen Toy Story 5? What did you think of it? Did it surprise you? Do you think the franchise should have ended at 3? And what do you think of how the film handled its toys versus tech angle? And would you be down for a Toy Story 6, provided the quality is still there, of course? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. Don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. And be sure to reach for the sky.